Hello everyone, I am Brady Bridges and I'm the broker and owner of Reside Real Estate here in Fort Worth, Texas. I want to welcome you to another episode of Real Talk with Reside Real Estate. We are a top producing team here in Fort Worth, Texas, and we want this podcast to be a resource for anyone looking to learn more about real estate and the great city of Fort Worth, Texas. Today I'm joined by Kevin Doskocil. Kevin was born and raised in Hillsborough, Texas. After high school, Kevin received a golf scholarship to attend Texas Wesleyan University and decided to make Fort Worth his permanent home. Kevin began working in the roofing industry in 2012. He quickly gained experience and knowledge in the field, and he also has his real estate license and began working as a real estate agent in 2013, and currently he's balancing both careers ever since. He now resides in Pembroke with his wife, Elizabeth, and their golden doodle, Palmer. Kevin, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Brady.
So I thought you'd be an interesting perspective, especially, for time frame. We just had a big storm here in Fort Worth. You helped out my family. So just kind of tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you got into being a project manager for a roofing company, also while being a real estate agent, and tell us a little bit about your company.
Yeah, absolutely. So I attended college on a golf scholarship. I was playing professional golf for about 3 years after college, and I'm so glad that I had that opportunity to go play professionally, but it was the most challenging, difficult time of my life. Bank account was getting a little low toward the end of that third year, and I had a good friend approach me and asked if I wanted to come inspect some roofs for him. And a storm had just rolled through DFW, and my intention was purely to sell roofs for a few months, use those proceeds to go back and play more pro golf. And little did I know that over 10 years later, I'd still be in the roofing industry.
It seems like a lot of things kind of fall that way. Like I got into real estate. I actually started using my real estate license to make an extra $10,000 a year to pay for country club fees so I could play golf. So I didn't know you actually got into roofing before you got into real estate.
Yep.
So how did that work? Did you just see an opportunity? Why did you decide to get your real estate license as well?
Yeah. So while I'm out inspecting roofs and building relationships with homeowners, inevitably a homeowner would mention to me that they were going to be selling their home, and I kept referring people to other real estate agents. And in 2013, 14, there were a lot of investment funds buying rental properties, and I had a good friend that was representing a private investment group and asked me to get my real estate license, hop on board, and so I was able to be an acquisition agent, acquiring single-family rentals all over DFW, Houston, for some big private equity funds, and was doing roofing right along with that.
A little double dip there. That works out. So who are you with now?
Yeah, so DT Roofing, wonderful company. Our home base is in Granbury, but we serve Tarrant, Parker, Hood, Johnson counties, Somerville. So
okay. And Kevin's also an agent at Briggs Freeman still, correct?
Correct. Yep.
Are you still practicing, or are you mostly focused on the roofing side right now?
Yeah, roofing takes up the vast majority of my time, but I still love to help on real estate when I can. Mostly,
it's very hard to be proactive in roofing because you're reacting to what happens around you, right? So,
absolutely.
So kind of let's just go into it from a homeowner perspective on some just general questions. So a new home buyer going to buy a house, what are the things that they need to be aware of? Typically we do home inspections. Home inspectors can't really say, they can give guidance, but they can't really say one way or the other. So from your perspective as a professional, what would you tell people to look out for or recommend on, just a first-time home buyer going under contract on their first home?
Sure. Well, obviously their roofing system is a very expensive component of a home, and it's very difficult to see damage on a roof from the ground. So I highly recommend having a professional qualified roofer take a look at that roof. There's a time and a place for drones and things like that, but that doesn't take the place of having a roofer get on that roof, thoroughly look at all of the flashing, your valley, your chimney flashing. It's very hard to see hail damage or even some wind damage from the ground. So having that looked at before you sign on the dotted line and that home becomes your responsibility, it's really important to get those things checked out ahead of time.
So just for like basic beginner, talking about, from the agent side, which I think is a great perspective, you understand, we talk about roofs, foundations, HVAC, and plumbing are like the four major components. let's just say on a standard Wedgwood 2,000 square foot house, what is typically a roof run for something like that if you had to replace a roof?
Yeah. Easily now with the cost of materials and labor have just every year they just keep going up. But average home, you're going to look at minimum $15,000 upwards, $25,000, $30,000 depending on what type of roof it is.
So it's very important to make sure that's in good shape before you close on the house.
Absolutely.
So kind of what is the average lifespan of a roofing system, and what are the routine maintenance that you would recommend somebody take care of and to keep their roof in shape so they don't have to call you and come out and replace it?
Sure. Well, most roofing systems here in DFW, they're an architectural or laminate shingle, and in the roofing world or insurance terms, they used to call that a 30-year shingle.
Yeah.
In Texas, if you can get a 30-year shingle to last 15 years, you're actually doing pretty good. The heat in the summer is so intense here, it will bake that shingle out. So if you don't have proper ventilation and the heat in that attic that is building in the summer months is not escaping and keeping the underside of that shingle cool,
yeah,
it's going to greatly shorten the lifespan of that shingle. So
would you say that's probably the most common thing you see is more heat damage, or is it mostly weather related, like hail, or is it mostly heat and just wear and tear?
Yeah, a little bit of both. It's really strange, but there are some areas that you'll see 20, 30-year-old roofs that have no hail damage. You'll go a mile over, and that neighborhood could have been hit 5 times in the last 10 years by different size hail. So without getting on the roof, it's a case-by-case basis. I've seen homes that the next door neighbor's getting a roof, but for whatever reason, you're not getting a roof because you had beautiful oak and pecan trees shielding it from the hail damage.
Yeah.
So, it really is a case-by-case basis.
So is there there's nothing really you as a homeowner can do to prevent any of that? Is there? Winter tear is going to happen, and the hailstorms are outside of your control. So is there any kind of maintenance you recommend people take care of?
The biggest things that I see are keeping your roof clean of debris and free from trees touching the roof. So trees can be a roof's worst nightmare. If there's any branches that you see, or even shrubs that are reaching up touching that roof, they can wear a hole right through that shingle quicker than you realize. So
yeah, until you have water coming through into your house.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's very easy to recognize tree damage because it's typically a linear fashion. You can see the pattern that a tree branch, it'll go right through a shingle. The other thing is keeping your gutters free of debris. Over and over, we have gutters that I get up there completely clogged with leaves and debris from the trees, and those will overflow, can back up into your soffit, your fascia, cause tremendous wood rot around the exterior of the home. The weight of a gutter holding water is very heavy, so that's just constant pressure it's putting on the fascia and exterior of your home.
So one of the things that you've always helped me out with is, and also just the homeowners that we've sent to you guys, when you do find out, let's just say you're selling your house, or in the case of like my sister or brother-in-law, you have one of these crazy storms that come through and you have an emergency in the middle of the night. Like, what's the first step? Obviously, you don't want water pouring through your house. So what do you do? Tree falls on your roof. What's the first step somebody needs to take?
Yeah. First step,
I'll call DT Roofing.
Yeah. You give us a shout. We try to be there as quickly as we can. In the past week now, from March 1st till today, I've looked at well over 100 roofs. Our company has looked at, several hundred roofs, residential, commercial. When you get storms that roll through like this, and it affects thousands of homeowners in North Texas, and when I'm out in Parker County, Morningstar, Walsh, I come on top of a roof and I literally see hundreds of homes with missing shingles and trampolines that have, smashed into the neighbors' windshield.
It's crazy. Some of the videos I've seen of the porta potties and the new construction blowing, and
absolutely,
it's crazy. So I think that's where a lot of times I think roofers have this stigma about them, but I feel like you've always been a really good consultant in a way for the homeowners when they're going through it. It's also dealing with the insurance companies on making sure that they cover the entire system. So how do you guys work with the homeowner and insurance to make sure that the homeowner's not shorted because the insurance company doesn't want to necessarily pay out to fix everything. I mean, that's a common thing, right?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, a big part of our job is holding the insurance company accountable that they pay for everything on that roofing system that the homeowner deserves. Now, we're never going to be unethical or gouge the insurance company, but there is a little bit of a game that they play. They're a for-profit company. And sometimes it may not even be intentional, but the adjusters that are out there, they might have 10 homes to look at that day. At the end of the night, they get home, they're uploading all these pictures. They're not going to remember every component of the roof. So it's important to have a professional roofer that looks at all the components of your roof and builds you a good roofing system that's going to be warrantable. The manufacturers have very strict specifications that, 10 years down the road, if you're having an issue with your roof and it could be claimed under a warranty, if that roofing company didn't use all the right components, that your warranty is going to be void and you're going to be paying for it down the road.
Oh, that's good to know. You can't just have somebody come throw one up and then expect the shingle manufacturer to cover it.
Yeah, there's thousands of companies out there that could install a roof for you, but there's very few that are actually going to do the right thing, use the right components. So it was pretty neat. We took a tour yesterday of the Owens Corning manufacturing facility in roofing, and so we got to see how the shingles are made. Then we had a really nice session in their conference room learning about all the different components that have to be used in order to get their platinum warranty through Owens Corning.
So whenever people say, this kind of leads me into some, so when people ask, say you have a licensed roofing contractor, what does the licensing look like? Is there really a license to be a roofing contractor?
Great question. I've heard insurance companies, or
you see that all the time on the repairmen that have a licensed roofing contractor.
Yeah. Even in the wording of some of the new real estate contracts this year that say that you need to have a licensed contractor. In the state of Texas, you do not have to have a license to be a roofer. You have to have a license to be a realtor, to be a plumber, to be an electrician. The barrier to entry in the roofing industry is extremely low. The closest thing we really have to a license, so to speak, in the roofing industry in Texas is we have the North Texas Roofers Contracting Association, and we've got NTRCA and RCAT, Roofing Contractors Association of Texas. To be a member of that association, you have to prove you've been in business a certain amount of time. You have to have insurance. You have to be referred to be in that organization. So that is kind of a badge of honor to wear, knowing that you're a legitimate roofing company if you're a member of that association.
Okay. Yeah. I just see that all the time. And you hear horror stories where, some of the times when these big storms come in, fly-by-night companies come in, do a terrible job on someone's roof, and then it's leaking again and you can never get a hold of them again. I mean, they just go around from town to town doing roofing jobs and just following the storms.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't tell you how many horror stories I've heard at the front porch of people taking, your first check from the insurance, never showing up. So
really,
yeah, it's pretty sad.
So y'all don't only do roofing, right? Y'all also do construction and remodel?
Correct. Yes. So we have it's our sister company. It's basically the same individuals, but for branding purposes, we started a company, Kingdom Builders Construction. So, we specialize on home remodeling, kitchen, bathrooms. We build a lot of outdoor living spaces, pergolas, home additions. We have done a few.
They've really expanded since the last time you and I talked about it. That's cool.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a couple new builds from the ground up.
Okay.
So we don't market ourselves as a new home builder, but if someone comes to us and we're the right fit, we can certainly do all the above.
So are you focused primarily on just the roofing side of things, or do you ever get into the construction piece of it, just having the real estate background?
Yeah, I do help with both. I will manage the project from start to finish on the roofing side. If a homeowner comes to me and I'm putting replacing their roof and they say, hey, we'd like to remodel the interior of our house, then I'll be there for those initial consultations with our management team on the Kingdom Builder side. And then when we pass that off, we've got project managers that are boots on the ground every day from start to finish on the remodel construction side.
So kind of just going into your top tips, right? So what mistakes are you seeing homeowners make the most when they go to pick a roofing company, and how would you advise somebody just outside looking in, obviously, because you're an agent, if you do have a deal, you can't necessarily just recommend yourself. So how do you go about finding a reputable roofer? If you didn't know knowing what you know now, like what does somebody need to do to find someone that's not going to do that situation where somebody just takes your money and goes?
Sure. Great question. So over the past week, I've just being in the neighborhoods that were greatly affected by these storms. I've probably seen 50 or more roofing companies within an hour of the hail hitting these homes. Let's just take Granbury, for example. They just had 2-inch hail. There's hundreds of homes that are going to have the roof replaced. Within an hour, there were companies from Frisco, Carrollton, Fort Worth, Stephenville, everybody converges on that area. Homeowners were frustrated 2 hours after they've had 10 different people knocking on the door thinking, who do I go with? We get a majority of our business from, going door to door in an area, but we're a legitimate company. What I would recommend is look at their reviews. We have over 500 5-star reviews on Google. You want to see that company's track record. Can they give you references of individuals, roofs that they've replaced in that neighborhood, in your community? We could give you, dozens, if not hundreds, of other homeowners that have, we've had. I'm not out just to have the transaction on the next one. I want to build relationships with those homeowners. And
well, I think that's good. Just based off the things you told me about the owners of your company and your company in general, y'all are very, you're religious based and you're also relational based, and having your real estate background as well. I mean, you have to build relationships if you want to have continuing business. I mean, I don't even know how exactly how we met. I think it was through playing golf, but you've taken care of a lot of stuff for my family, and I try to refer you to anybody I can because I know you're an honest guy and you're going to take care of them. So I think that's a great way to do it, is just the relational side of things, and the Google reviews is massive.
Yeah, absolutely. It really comes down to who can you trust, character. I want to do business with people that are out for my best interests. I put myself in that homeowner's shoes. If this were my home, what would I do? What's the best thing for you? And just honesty, integrity, and you do the right thing. God's going to take care of the rest.
Absolutely. So switching gears here, one of the things that I ask everybody that's come in here is, what do you love most about Fort Worth? You guys live here now in Benbrook, and Fort Worth's changed a lot since both of us have been here. So what do you love living in Fort Worth? And what would you tell new people coming here that they need to check out?
Great question. I mean, Fort Worth is an amazing city. From the Stockyards, Sundance Square, Clear Fork, Magnolia, South Main. There's so many new, trendy areas that are popping up. It's incredible. There's something for everyone here. Arts District, TCU, I'll have to throw in Texas Wesleyan since I went there. But, I'm passionate about golf. I love the history of golf in Fort Worth with Ben Hogan, Byron Nelson, the Leonard family, Colonial. There's so much rich golf history here. So for a golfer, it's a golf haven here. There's amazing golf courses everywhere, and
I'm passionate about golf too. I just don't have the skill that you do. Now that's a good perspective. A lot of people have come in here and just talked about how it's a just small town feel still. But Kevin, thank you so much for coming in. This was another episode of Real Talk with Reside. Kevin, how can people get a hold of you if they have more questions?
Yeah, my email, kevin@dtroofing.net, and I'm on Facebook, Kevin Doskocil.
Awesome. I want to grab that video from you of when you guys were out there at my sister's house when that tree fell, and I'm gonna attach it there at the bottom whenever we post this up, so people can kind of see some of the projects you guys worked on.
Good deal.
Thank you again for listening. If we can be assistance in any way, and you want to learn more about Fort Worth, please reach out. Thank you.